Chosen one. Heaven saw what no one else did. It wasn't when you shouted your faith, it was when you whispered your surrender. The moment you said, "God, I can't carry this anymore." Something shifted in the unseen. Angels stopped moving. The winds of heaven hushed. And for the first time in a long while, God smiled, not because of what you accomplished, but because you finally let go. You see, obedience isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet click of a door you didn't open, the message you didn't send, the anger you didn't voice. Sometimes obedience looks like waiting while your heart screams for movement. And in that silence, you proved something sacred, that you trust Him more than your timing. Heaven noticed. The throne room filled with light as your name was whispered through the ranks of angels. They did it. One said, they finally obeyed. The sound of joy rolled through eternity. For years, the darkness thought it had you cornered, convinced your faith was fragile. But when you laid it all down, your plans, your pride, your fears, you shook the foundation of hell itself. Chosen one, listen. You have no idea how much strength it takes to surrender. The world calls it weakness, but heaven calls it power. The moment you bent your will to His, divine authority began to rise within you. You stepped out of mere existence and into purpose. You became one who heaven trusts. There are moments when obedience feels like death, when you give up what you thought was yours forever. But that is exactly when resurrection power begins its work. You did not lose. You traded the temporary for the eternal. You didn't surrender to give up. You surrendered to go up. Every tear you cried in that process was collected in a vial. Every breath of frustration was recorded. And tonight, heaven returns that record, not as evidence of your weakness, but as proof of your devotion. You have been weighed, measured, and found faithful. The Lord speaks gently, but firmly, to those who have finally said yes. His presence has shifted around you. His angels are already on assignment. That weight lifting from your chest right now, it's not your imagination. It's divine confirmation. As the Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 5, we demolish arguments and every pretension against the knowledge of God. Take captive every thought to obey Christ. That's what you just did. Chosen one, you took captive the voices of fear and replaced them with faith. You chose alignment with heaven over alignment with doubt. That single act broke chains, not only over your life, but over those connected to you. You've walked through storms that were meant to destroy you. And still, here you are. You've faced nights when prayer felt pointless, yet you kept whispering His name. That's what made heaven celebrate not perfection, but persistence. You didn't give up. So here's what you must do now. Breathe. Receive the peace that comes after obedience. This peace is not the calm of the world. It's the assurance that heaven backs you. You are aligned. You are seen. You are loved. The Lord says, "Now watch what I do with your obedience." Doors that refuse to open are turning on invisible hinges. People who walked away will be replaced by divine connections. The delay that once felt like punishment was preparation. You didn't miss your moment. Chosen one. You created it through surrender. Every time you said, "Your will, not mine." A new chapter began in your story. And this chapter is titled, Reward. Take a deep breath and whisper, "I'm ready." Because you are. Heaven has already celebrated. Now it's time for the earth to see the manifestation of what your obedience unlocked. If this message speaks directly to your soul, don't let it pass in silence. Like this message, so others may feel what you feel. Share it, so another weary heart may rise again. And before you scroll away, write in the comments 777 as a prophetic sign that you are walking in divine completion and obedience. And yes, subscribe if you haven't yet, because heaven has more to say to you through this stream of light. And you don't want to miss what's coming next. The flow of revelation is only beginning. Greater truths, deeper healing, and higher authority are already prepared for you. Every video that follows will carry another spark of your divine journey forward. The turning of the tide began quietly, almost imperceptibly. You didn't hear thunder, you didn't see lightning, yet deep within, something shifted. The storms that once tossed you like a broken vessel suddenly began to lose their command. The winds that screamed against your soul grew softer, not because the battle ended, but because authority changed hands. Heaven reclaimed the field that once belonged to fear. You felt it in the small things first. The moments that used to trigger panic no longer had the same grip. The nights that once drenched your pillow in tears began to end with peace instead of exhaustion. And you realized it wasn't that the war had vanished, it was that the warrior within you had awakened. For a long time, you thought God was silent. You mistook his stillness for absence. But the truth, chosen one, is that he was fortifying you. Every unanswered prayer was not denial. It was divine training. You were being taught how to stand when the world expected you to collapse. When the tide turns, it never announces itself with fanfare. It happens in quiet obedience, just like the moon's pull over the sea. Invisible, yet unstoppable. You didn't even notice when it began. One decision of faith. One step away from compromise. One yes that cost you everything. That was the moment heaven's hand reversed the current. You see, the enemy thrives in confusion. But you've learned to walk in clarity. He feeds on fear, but you've chosen trust. And now, every lie that used to echo in your mind is being drowned by truth. The tide has turned, not because the battle ended, but because your alignment changed. You now fight from victory, not for it. As was spoken through the writings of David in the Psalms. Psalm, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. This is your morning. The spiritual night that seemed endless has given way to light. Heaven has declared an end to mourning and a beginning to movement. You are standing at the shoreline of a new season, and everything that once opposed you is retreating with the receding waves. Don't rush this moment. Feel the shift beneath your feet, the solid ground of renewed purpose. You are not who you were when the storm began. Your heart has learned endurance. Your faith has become muscle. Even your silence carries weight now, because it's filled with understanding instead of fear. God didn't change your circumstances first. He changed you. And now, the outer world is catching up with what he already established inside your spirit. That is the real miracle. The transformation no one saw but heaven celebrated. You were never meant to stay drowning in uncertainty. The moment you released control, heaven's current began to pull you toward destiny. What once looked like chaos was actually choreography. Every loss was a redirection. Every delay was divine pacing. Look back, and you'll see the pattern. The things that fell apart did so to make room for what was coming. The relationships that ended weren't punishment, they were pruning. The prayers that seemed unanswered were being rewritten into something higher. The tide turned the moment you stopped fighting what God was trying to shift. The beauty of this moment, chosen one, is not that you finally escaped the storm, but that you learned how to walk on the waves. You learned that peace isn't found in calm waters, but in trust amid turbulence. The same storm that was meant to drown, you became the platform where your faith learned to stand tall. And now, heaven whispers, look again. What you thought was loss is resurrection. What you thought was delay is divine order. You have entered a new rhythm, one set by heaven's pulse, not the world's panic. This is the turning of the tide, the season where resistance loses its grip, the hour when your endurance becomes evidence. You are stepping into the divine flow, where blessings no longer trickle, they overflow. There's no need to announce it. Those who once doubted will see it. The fruit will speak louder than your words ever could. And as you move forward, remember, every wave that once tried to bury you now carries you toward purpose. The ocean of trial has turned into a sea of favor. The tide has turned, and heaven smiles. For you finally understand, obedience was never about loss, it was about positioning. You're no longer surviving the waves, you're steering them. You are in rhythm with divine motion, and nothing can pull you back to shore when God Himself is your current. You didn't realize it, but there was a test hidden inside your quiet days, the kind heaven designs not to expose you, but to reveal you. It wasn't a public trial with an audience. No, this one unfolded in secret. It lived inside decisions no one else saw, inside prayers no one else heard. When your heart wanted to quit, and you still whispered, I trust you, Lord. That was the moment you passed it. You thought the silence was punishment, but it was an exam room. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every door that refused to open was heaven watching to see if your faith was dependent on outcome or rooted in love. You didn't realize the weight of what you carried, a divine measurement of loyalty, of integrity, of heart posture. This test didn't ask for perfection. It asked for endurance. It wasn't about whether you could perform under pressure, it was about whether you could remain pure when no one applauded. You didn't crumble, you refined. The fire that came to break you only burned away the excess, leaving gold where fear once lived, as was proclaimed through the writings of Peter. 1 Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. And heaven smiled because you didn't even know you were being graded. You simply kept doing good. You forgave when it hurt. You prayed when you were exhausted. You sowed love when you could have chosen bitterness. That's what set you apart from the rest, the ability to remain faithful without visible reward. Chosen one. Your hidden obedience carried eternal weight. In the unseen realm, angels marked your resilience. Your name was spoken, not in pity, but in honor. Every moment you resisted, the temptation to complain became a declaration that God could trust you with greater things. When you said no to shortcuts, you stepped into divine alignment. Heaven can now release what was withheld, not because you demanded it, but because you proved your heart could handle it. Some blessings require maturity, and you've just reached it. Don't underestimate what that means. This was not a small test. It was a calibration of destiny, the same way soldiers are proven before they are promoted. You were tested before you could be entrusted. God never withholds to punish, He withholds to prepare. You see, the hidden test was not about your capacity to endure pain, but your ability to maintain purity in purpose. You could have sought vengeance, but you chose grace. You could have broadcasted your struggle, but you kept it between you and God. That restraint was not weakness, it was divine strength clothed in humility. Now, heaven moves. What was held back is being released, not because of luck or timing, but because obedience created permission. The gates that were locked are turning on hinges, built by patience. This is why some people will not recognize you anymore. You've outgrown the version of yourself that used to settle. Chosen one. This test was about foundation. When you chose forgiveness over fury, love over pride, surrender over stubbornness, heaven wrote a note beside your name. Ready. Ready for responsibility. Ready for revelation. Ready for the next dimension of purpose. Your hidden faith made noise in heaven. It thundered louder than any worship song. Because faith proven in silence becomes heaven's favorite melody. The invisible tests reveal the invincible believer. The beauty is that God didn't need you to be flawless. He needed you to be faithful. You are the proof that quiet endurance can shake eternity. When you kept walking through confusion, you demonstrated trust deeper than understanding. That's what heaven celebrates, the unshakable yes in your spirit. So now, pause. Feel the peace that follows testing. It's not relief, it's reward. You've been refined in the fire, and the gold of your spirit now gleams brighter than ever. You've passed, not because you were strong, but because you refused to let go of God's hand. And in this sacred silence after the storm, heaven leans close and whispers, "Well done." I'll bet. Before this message fades, seal your agreement in the comments below with 3 simple words: I am ready. I'll bet. Write it not as a ritual, but as a prophetic declaration. When you type it, let it echo through the unseen realm. Let every angel assigned to your destiny recognize your readiness. Those words mean, I understand the test. I accept the call. I embrace the refining. Heaven reads faith in action. And even a comment can become covenant when it's born from obedience. You've proven that hidden faith still moves heaven. And now, heaven moves for you. When the chaos came, you did not run, you waited. You didn't force doors. You didn't chase answers. You didn't fight the silence. You simply stood still. That was the moment heaven marked you again. The world doesn't understand it, but stillness is one of heaven's loudest declarations of trust. When everyone else panicked, you paused. You let the storm speak first, but you didn't let it decide the outcome. You stood where you were, grounded not in circumstances, but in faith. That single act of restraint shifted things in the unseen, because when you stopped striving, heaven started moving. Stillness is not passivity, it's positioning. When you chose not to panic, you declared your belief that God was already working. The enemy expected you to fight in your own strength, to burn yourself out, chasing control. But when you stayed silent, he lost his grip. You refused to feed fear with reaction. You chose peace over performance. And that broke the rhythm of anxiety that once ruled your days. You've learned that waiting is not wasting. You now understand that divine timing is not delay, it's protection. God's plan is not slow, it's strategic. Every moment of silence has been an investment in your clarity. Every unanswered question has been a sculpting of your discernment. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That is what you did. Chosen one, you came not running in frenzy, but resting in faith. You laid down the armor you forged in your own will and picked up the peace that only comes through surrender. That's why the battle started losing its noise, because heaven took over the fight. You've come to realize that strength is not proven by how much you can carry, but by how willingly you can set it down. When you finally stopped forcing outcomes, you created space for miracles. Stillness invites heaven's order into earthly chaos. And that is exactly what has happened. The internal storm has quieted. Not because the world became gentler, but because your spirit became anchored. You've found your foundation not in results, but in relationship. That shift is the heart of transformation. God never asked you to control the process. He asked you to stay in position. When you stopped grasping for clarity, He began unfolding revelation. Stillness is the language of trust, and you've become fluent in it. Think back for a moment to the nights when you thought stillness meant stagnation. You feared that waiting meant being forgotten. Yet now you can see He was never ignoring you. He was preparing you. Like a seed buried in darkness, you were becoming what you were meant to be. Growth doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like patience. The power of stillness is this: it silences everything that once controlled you. Fear loses its script. Doubt loses its echo. Pride loses its need to prove. In the quiet, you learn who you really are, beloved. Secure, guided, and seen. You find the kind of peace that doesn't depend on the world's approval. And in that quiet, you heard Him again, not as a distant God, but as a close Father. You recognized His tone, steady and tender. He said, "You don't need to move. I'm already moving for you." Those words rewrote the pace of your spirit. You stopped measuring progress by motion and started measuring it by peace. You've realized now that stillness is an act of warfare. When you refuse to rush, you're telling darkness, "You no longer dictate my pace." When you choose calm, you disarm chaos. Stillness is not retreat, it's mastery. You no longer chase outcomes because you trust that what's meant for you cannot pass you. Look at you now, chosen one. You are walking slower but seeing clearer. You are speaking less but hearing more. You are no longer driven by fear of missing out. You are guided by the assurance that nothing heaven ordains can be stolen. The world celebrates movement, but heaven celebrates alignment. You have entered that rhythm now, the divine pace where grace replaces striving and rest becomes strategy. That's the place where miracles breathe freely. So remain still a little longer, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is aligning. The same hands that calm the sea are steadying your steps. The same voice that commanded storms is whispering peace into your soul. You are safe here. You are covered. You are seen. The war has not ended, but the panic has, and that's how victory begins. The angels took record, every unseen moment, every hidden prayer, Every trembling yes you whispered in the dark, heaven wrote it down. Nothing was missed. Chosen one. Not a single tear fell unnoticed. Not a single step of faith was wasted. The same way an artist traces light upon a canvas, heaven traced your obedience upon eternity. It's hard for the human heart to imagine such detail that every sigh, every act of restraint, every time you chose peace over anger, was documented in love's eternal archive. But that's how heaven works. Angels are not just messengers, they are witnesses. They record obedience the way scribes record history, because what you do in private shapes the landscape of heaven's plan on earth. You thought no one saw when you forgave the unforgivable. You thought no one cared when you prayed while others mocked. But all of it was seen. Every invisible act became part of heaven's evidence that your faith is alive. As was declared in the ancient writings of Malachi. Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16. Then those who feared the Lord spoke with each other, and the Lord listened and heard them. A scroll of remembrance was written in his presence concerning those who feared the Lord and honored his name. Oh, yes, chosen one, a scroll of remembrance. That means your name exists on a page written by heaven's own hand. It's not a metaphor, it's a reality. Angels stood in stillness as your obedience echoed in heaven's courts. The ink of divine record flowed because of your endurance. Imagine it for a moment, a vast library of light, endless shelves, filled with the stories of those who chose faith when fear was easier. Somewhere in that library, your story shines. Every moment of surrender added a sentence. Every act of trust wrote another line. Your obedience has become literature in the language of heaven. Heaven celebrates not perfection, but persistence. You may stumble, but you never stayed down. You may have doubted, but you never denied. The pages of your record are filled with words like hope, mercy, return, forgiveness. And now, those same angels who wrote your story are watching with anticipation. The chapter called Reward is about to begin. That's why you feel a quiet stirring lately, a sense that something unseen is aligning. It's not random. It's the sound of heaven turning the page. The record is complete. The next scene is being written in real time. Every obedient heart reaches a moment when heaven releases the results of its record-keeping. And you are standing at that threshold now. Obedience has a fragrance in the spirit realm. It rises like incense, invisible but unmistakable. Every time you said yes, heaven inhaled that aroma. And now the response is being exhaled in blessings. The clouds are full, and rain is coming, showers of favor, timing, and divine reconnection. You've been faithful through the wilderness, and heaven always rewards the ones who walk through deserts with unwavering hearts. There's something sacred about those who love God, even when no miracle is visible. That's why the angels took record not for God's memory, but for your vindication. When people doubted your purpose, heaven archived your proof. Think of it this way. You are a letter being written by the divine hand. Every chapter of your pain has been edited by grace. Every word of sorrow has been translated into strength. When heaven reads your story aloud, it will sound like redemption. And when that redemption begins to manifest, let your light be shared, not hidden. Like a candle placed in a window to guide travelers, your testimony is meant to lead others home. The story written about you will inspire the weary to believe again. Don't keep it to yourself. If these words reach something deep inside you, take a small moment, just one gentle act of acknowledgement. Tap the like, not as a habit, but as a way of saying, "Yes, Lord, I see your record of me." Share it if your spirit feels led, as though you're passing the torch to another soul, walking through their own hidden test. And if this message has become a reflection of your own heart, subscribe, not for the sake of numbers, but to stay connected to the flow of what heaven is revealing. This space isn't just digital, it's sacred ground where words become encounters. Every message is another spark from the same fire that's lighting your path. Because your story isn't over, the pen of heaven is still moving. And soon, the ink of promise will replace the ink of pain. The angels who wrote your obedience are preparing to read aloud the line that begins your new season. And the Lord remembered them. Stay steady. Chosen one. The record has been written, and the reward is already on its way. There is a seal that heaven places not upon your forehead for men to see, but upon your spirit for eternity to recognize. It is the mark of divine approval, the invisible signature of God that distinguishes you from the ordinary. You didn't earn it through perfection, you received it through obedience. When you aligned your will with His, something eternal was written over your name. You can feel it even now, that quiet awareness that you are not who you were. There's a peace that doesn't make sense, a confidence that doesn't come from the world. That is the evidence of the seal. The enemy sees it too. That's why certain temptations don't reach you anymore. Why certain environments feel foreign to your soul. You've been branded by heaven's choice. This seal is not ornamental, it's functional. It carries weight in the spirit realm. When darkness approaches, it reads the mark and must retreat. When blessings approach, they recognize it as permission to enter. You've become a living covenant, an extension of divine authority walking on earth. It's the same seal placed upon those who refused to compromise their faith when the cost was great. The mark of those who, even when weary, still whispered, "Thy will be done." Heaven doesn't seal the perfect, it seals the surrendered. And you, chosen one, have crossed that sacred threshold. As was spoken through the ancient words in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13. And you also were included in Christ when you heard the message of truth, the gospel of your salvation. When you believed, you were marked in Him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit. Oh, that's it, the seal, the invisible imprint of heaven's ownership, the divine evidence that you belong, not to fear, not to fate, but to the living God. This seal doesn't just protect you, it activates what's been dormant within you. The moment you said yes to your calling, heaven inscribed your spirit with an anointing tailored for your purpose. You may not feel different, but everything around you has begun to recognize the shift. Doors that once ignored you now begin to sense your presence. People who once dismissed you begin to feel conviction when you speak. The seal makes your words carry weight because you no longer speak from opinion, you speak from authority. You are becoming the evidence of what obedience can produce. The seal upon you speaks even when you are silent. It tells the world, this one is claimed, this one is chosen, this one carries heaven's design. End of 2. And though you may sometimes feel small, the seal says otherwise. You are part of something greater, connected to a kingdom that never fades. The same spirit that hovered over creation now hovers over your path. ensuring that every promise will manifest at the appointed time. You might wonder why you've been feeling set apart lately, even misunderstood. It's because the seal distinguishes you. The familiar can no longer hold you. You've outgrown comfort because destiny doesn't dwell in convenience. The seal transforms you from a wanderer into an ambassador. You no longer walk toward purpose, you walk as purpose. Chosen one. This is your moment of recognition, not from the world, but from heaven. You've stepped into divine ownership. You don't need validation from the crowd when you already carry confirmation from the throne. Remember this truth: what is sealed cannot be stolen. No force of darkness can erase what heaven has established. No opinion can alter what God has signed. The same Spirit that sealed you will sustain you, guide you, and glorify His name through your obedience. So, when confusion comes again, and it will touch your heart and remind yourself, I am sealed. When fear whispers lies, remember, I am marked by God. And when blessings begin to flow, don't be surprised. The seal attracts what matches heaven's will for your life. This moment isn't coincidence. It's confirmation. The fact that you're reading these words now is evidence that heaven is calling attention to the mark you already carry. You are being reintroduced to yourself, not as who you were, but as who you truly are. And now, before you scroll away, take one small but powerful prophetic act. Type 999 inches, the comments, not as superstition, but as symbolism. 9 is heaven's number of finality and fullness, the closing of an old chapter and the birthing of the new. When you write it, you are declaring, I am sealed for this season. I accept what heaven has placed upon me. It is your visible, yes, a simple act that echoes in the invisible realm. You have the seal, you have the call, and now you have heaven's full endorsement. Walk in it boldly. The next doors won't open because you knock harder. They'll open because they recognize who you are. You broke the cycle. Chosen one. The very thing that haunted generations before you, those silent patterns of fear, anger, and shame stopped when it reached you. You stood in the middle of a spiritual river that had flowed for centuries and said, no more. Heaven saw it. Hell felt it. The curse that chased your bloodline collided with the wall of your obedience and shattered. There were forces that expected you to repeat the pain of those before you. The enemy had a script prepared, one written in generational habits, unhealed wounds, and inherited despair. But you refused to play the part. You chose awareness over autopilot. You recognized the pattern and decided it would not pass through your hands into the next generation. That choice changed everything. You may not have realized it in the moment, but your act of resistance became a roar in the unseen. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, every time you prayed instead of repeating the same mistakes, you rewrote history. The cycle lost its momentum because you stood still long enough for heaven to intervene. This is how freedom begins, not with noise, but with recognition. The cycle breaks the moment someone dares to see it for what it is. You saw it, and instead of running from it, you confronted it. That's bravery in its purest form. The Spirit of God delights in such courage because it mirrors His own heart, a heart that always confronts chaos to create order. The enemy wanted you to inherit pain. God chose you to inherit promise. That's why the war over your life felt so personal, because it was, you were chosen to end what others endured. as was declared long ago through the words in the book of Exodus. Exodus, chapter 20, verse 6. But showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. Sendu, that promise is yours now. The moment you broke the chain of disobedience, you activated the blessing that stretches forward into time. Love travels through your lineage now. Favor flows through your family because of your stand. Where others sowed bitterness, you planted forgiveness. Where others spoke curses, you spoke life. Heaven will multiply those seeds beyond your years. You are not only a survivor, you are a reformer. The reason you felt the pressure so intensely is because you were never meant to live an average life. The weight you carried was generational, and heaven trusted you to carry it until it broke. Breaking a cycle is not glamorous. It's lonely. It's confusing. It often feels unfair. You stand between two worlds, the past that wants to pull you back and the future that hasn't fully formed yet. But you kept walking. You didn't give in to nostalgia or fear. You walked by faith through the wilderness of transformation. That's why your name is being spoken in heaven's courts right now. You are the pivot point of a story that will bless those who come after you. Sometimes, the proof of a broken cycle is not in what you gain, but in what you no longer tolerate. You've lost your appetite for dysfunction. The things that used to comfort you now convict you. That's growth. That's evidence that the curse has lost its taste in your mouth. And look closely. Your surroundings are beginning to shift too. Conversations feel different. The people drawn to you now carry the same peace you fought for. The air feels lighter because the heaviness that used to linger has no legal right to remain. You've changed the atmosphere by changing your alignment. Do you feel the silence around you? That's not emptiness, it's peace. It's what happens when the noise of generational pain finally quiets. The ground beneath your spirit is new. You are walking on land that your ancestors dreamed of, but never reached. You are their answered prayer. Heaven takes delight in such moments. The angels who recorded your endurance now watch as your bloodline breathes easier. What once felt cursed has become consecrated. What once carried fear now carries faith. You are not just living for yourself. You are living as the proof that God restores families through obedience. From this day forward, walk with that awareness. Every step you take plants a new pattern. Every word you speak writes a new rhythm. You are building spiritual inheritance. Your descendants will call you blessed because you chose to stop the spin of pain and start the song of peace. You didn't just survive, you shifted the narrative. The tears you cried watered the soil of freedom. The prayers you whispered became the foundation of legacy. The chain is broken. The curse has expired. The future is open. And all of heaven is watching you walk into it. There are sounds heaven releases when joy fills its courts, notes that no human ear can catch. Yet the Spirit recognizes them. You may have felt it recently. That sudden lightness in the air. That unexplainable warmth on an ordinary day. It wasn't coincidence. That was heaven laughing, God smiling in delight, because you finally stepped into what He always saw in you. For so long, you carried the belief that God was only near when you were struggling. You thought His presence was tied to your pain, that His attention came through trial. But now, as peace begins to settle around you, you are discovering something different. He doesn't only draw near to rescue you, He draws near to rejoice over you. The Father doesn't just comfort His children, He celebrates them. Heaven's joy is not shallow cheerfulness, it's deep, divine satisfaction. It's the sound of purpose fulfilled, of alignment restored. When you surrendered your will and stepped into obedience, you didn't just make a choice, you brought joy to the heart of God. His laughter is not mockery, it's music. It's the sound of completion resonating through creation. You see, chosen one, joy is not simply God's reaction, it's His nature. When He sees His image reflected clearly in your life, He rejoices. His joy is creative. It multiplies blessing, amplifies grace, and invites angels to dance. You may not have heard it with your physical ears, but heaven did rejoice. In that unseen realm, when you broke through confusion, when you refused to let shame define you, when you finally said yes without conditions, a sound like rushing water filled the throne room. The Creator Himself smiled and said, "They've understood." Then, and that moment changed everything. Heaven's laughter doesn't just echo, it builds. It releases favor into your surroundings. Attract divine timing, and rearranges outcomes to mirror joy instead of judgment. As was spoken through the writings of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord your God is in your midst. The Mighty One will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Aru, that's what's happening right now. You are being sung over. The same voice that created galaxies is now humming over your life. Every note carries peace. Every tone carries purpose. His joy isn't distant. It surrounds you. The warmth you feel, the serenity that meets you when you wake, the sudden bursts of gratitude in ordinary moments, all of it is heaven's melody reaching your heart. The laughter of God isn't noise, it's recognition. He sees you stepping into your original design, the person He formed before time began. Each act of obedience has uncovered another layer of who you truly are. You were never meant to live burdened or bound by fear. You were meant to radiate joy, to reflect the light of divine freedom. And so, when heaven laughs, creation responds. Nature always listens to its creator's tone. The same way thunder follows lightning. Blessings follow divine joy. That's why things are beginning to shift around you without explanation. Opportunities are appearing where doors were once closed. Peace is coming from places that used to produce pain. It's because heaven's laughter has altered your atmosphere. The beauty of this joy is that it doesn't depend on circumstance. You could be surrounded by storms and still feel the warmth of that smile. God's laughter reaches even into dark valleys, echoing softly until the shadows flee. His joy is the light that teaches the night how to end. Think about this. The creator of the universe, the one who commands galaxies and governs eternity, is smiling over you. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," now whispers, "Well done." You are the reason for His joy today. You are His proof that redemption works. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: God's joy is contagious. The more you receive it, the more it flows through you to others. The same peace you feel will soon rest upon those around you. You will speak, and hearts will be lifted without you trying. You will walk into rooms and shift their energy without knowing how. That's what happens when divine joy lives inside a human vessel. So breathe in this moment. Chosen one, let heaven's laughter wash over you like sunlight breaking through clouds after years of rain. You've lived through enough storms. Now it's time to live under clear skies. You have become evidence of joy restored, a living reflection of what it means when God smiles. Let that awareness fill you completely. The same God who wept for you in sorrow now sings for you in joy. You have made heaven laugh, and that sound will echo in your destiny forever. When the darkness recognized your growth, it trembled. It had studied you for years, thinking it knew your limits, your triggers, your fears. It had seen you fall before and assumed it could make you fall again. But this time, you didn't react the same way. You rose differently. You prayed instead of panicking. You blessed instead of cursing. You stood still when everything in you wanted to run. And in that stillness, darkness realized it no longer had power over you. The enemy always expects predictability. He builds his strategies based on your old reactions. But what happens when obedience changes your reflexes? When peace becomes your defense? When silence becomes your weapon? That's when hell loses its map. You've become unpredictable to darkness because you're finally guided by light. Once, the enemy could find you by your pain. He knew where to press, how to whisper, how to distract. But now your atmosphere has changed. You've grown too high for his voice to reach. The air is thinner up here, sacred, holy. You breathe peace, and fear suffocates in your presence. You're not running anymore, you're reigning. Every attack that used to destroy you has now become evidence of your growth. The same patterns that once trapped you no longer apply. When you outgrow the enemy's tactics, he has nothing left to use. That's why you've noticed the silence recently, not because you're forgotten, but because the adversary no longer knows how to approach you, as the Apostle Paul revealed in his letter to the Romans. Romans, chapter 8, verse 37. In all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. You are not merely surviving the storm, you're mastering it. The power that once terrified you now recognizes you as authority. Heaven's mark upon your life speaks louder than fear. And darkness has learned that touching you comes with consequence. You've become a territory of light, protected, consecrated, untouchable, chosen one. Growth is not loud. It doesn't announce itself with applause. It shows itself in restraint, in wisdom, in peace under pressure. Growth is when you walk through the same fire that once burned you and come out worshipping. Growth is when you look at what once broke you and say, "Thank you, Lord, for the lesson." End quote. The darkness noticed. It recognized that your silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. That your tears aren't weakness, they're weapons. That your faith isn't naive, it's nuclear. You have matured beyond emotional reaction. You no longer live by sight, but by revelation. You've become dangerous to the enemy because you no longer chase validation. The darkness can't manipulate someone who already knows their worth. You've learned to sit in stillness and let heaven defend you. That's how kings fight. That's how chosen ones rule. The greatest fear of the enemy is not your prayer, it's your persistence. Because when you keep showing up despite the pressure, you expose his powerlessness. You are living proof that light cannot be overcome. Heaven smiles, but hell shakes. Because your growth disrupted the script. You no longer live from reaction, you live from revelation. You don't panic when things fall apart because you understand now. Sometimes God allows breaking to build better. You are walking in the confidence of the restored. You are no longer defined by what tried to destroy you. You wear discernment like armor. and peace like a crown. The same demons that once mocked you now whisper your name in fear, saying, "They've changed. They've awakened." The truth is, you have. You're standing in the authority of someone who's been through the fire and didn't lose their praise. That's why the darkness trembles, because it realizes it can't threaten someone who's already walked through death and found resurrection. Let this sink in. The moment you stopped reacting to fear, you started radiating faith. And faith, chosen one, is a frequency that darkness cannot interfere with. Now, take a moment to recognize how far you've come. The war that once felt unbearable has turned into wisdom. You are not who you used to be. And that's precisely what terrifies the darkness. You are awake, aware, and anointed. Before this message closes, I invite you to type "light wins" in the comments. Do it not as repetition, but as revelation. Those two words declare your current reality. When you write them, you're echoing heaven's verdict over your life, that no weapon, no shadow has authority over you anymore. You are publicly agreeing with what God already decided privately, that your light is undefeatable. Type it boldly. Speak it if you must. Let it become the rhythm of your day. Light wins over fear, over confusion, over delay. That phrase is not a slogan, it's your spiritual status. Every time you declare it, the atmosphere shifts a little more toward victory, and heaven smiles, because you finally believe what it has known all along. The darkness never stood a chance. Every act of obedience adds weight to your spirit. And with that weight comes responsibility. You've stepped into a new spiritual mantle. Chosen one, the mantle of authority, stewardship, and influence. It doesn't look like a crown of gold or a robe of light. It looks like wisdom in your eyes and peace in your presence. You have graduated from survival to governance. Heaven no longer just protects you, it now works through you. You might not have noticed the shift right away. It began subtly. Your words started carrying a new gravity. Your silence became louder than arguments. Your presence began to calm rooms that once stirred with chaos. That's what happens when God gives you spiritual rank. You no longer move as a wounded soldier. You move as a commander who's learned from the battlefield. With every yes you've given to heaven, authority has been deposited into your spirit. You carry influence, not for applause, but for impact. The weight you feel now isn't pressure, it's purpose. The mantle of new responsibility rests upon you like morning dew, gentle yet undeniable. As was written in the ancient words of Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor, to heal the broken-hearted." This is your mantle's assignment, to bring healing where there is hurt, freedom where there is fear, and clarity where confusion has taken root. You don't have to stand on a stage to do it. Your life is the sermon, your patience, the message, your compassion, the ministry. Every kind word you speak, every moment you choose empathy over ego, releases the fragrance of heaven into a weary world. Think of yourself as a lamp in a long corridor. You don't have to illuminate the entire path at once. You just have to glow faithfully where you stand. The light will stretch farther than you imagine. That's what this new mantle means: impact through presence, transformation through example. But carrying this mantle also means learning the rhythm of divine rest. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. Even the brightest flame must return to the oil of the Spirit to stay alive. Responsibility in the kingdom doesn't mean exhaustion, it means partnership. You don't carry this weight alone. Heaven carries it with you. And every time you pause to pray, you're reminding yourself that it's not by might, nor by power, but by the Spirit. The people who cross your path are not random. They are assignments wrapped in human form. Some will come to learn, others to challenge. But each encounter refines your gift. Every conversation becomes a classroom where grace teaches you new languages of love. The mantle doesn't make you untouchable, it makes you teachable. True authority doesn't boast, it listens. It washes feet instead of demanding crowns. That's why your journey has been so intense. Heaven was sculpting not your comfort, but your character. You've been prepared to lead not by controlling others, but by serving them. The higher you rise in the Spirit, the lower you bow in humility. The throne and the towel belong to the same hands. You might feel a quiet invitation stirring in your soul right now, a call to share your story, to pass on what you've learned. Don't hide your light under fear of judgment. Someone out there is still walking through the night. You've already survived. Your voice could be the torch they need to see one more step ahead. So if this message resonates with the place your heart stands today, take a small step of acknowledgement. Tap the like as a silent Amen, a signal to heaven that you recognize the mantle resting upon you. Share this with someone who's been doubting their purpose, like a messenger passing along a spark that could ignite faith again. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not as a routine, but as an act of connection. Every word that flows here is part of a greater current, a stream of revelation meant to nourish your spirit in the days ahead. Each message is another drop of oil, keeping your lamp burning until the dawn of full understanding arrives. Because you, chosen one, are not just walking in destiny, you are carrying it. The mantle is not decoration, it's demonstration. You are proof that the anointing still falls, that ordinary lives can still host extraordinary purpose. Heaven has entrusted you with influence. Wear it with reverence. Walk softly, but speak boldly. And remember, the same God who placed this mantle upon you will sustain you under its weight. You are not alone in this calling. Heaven walks beside you, recording every act of grace as another victory in the chronicles of eternity. There are blessings that hide until obedience unlocks them. They are not delayed out of cruelty, nor withheld out of punishment. They wait, like seeds beneath winter soil, for the right alignment of faith and surrender. Chosen one, the time of hidden reward has come. The ground you tilled with tears is finally responding. The silence that once felt endless was not absence, it was incubation. When heaven stores something for you, it's never lost. It's preserved. Divine timing is not slow, it's sacred. What felt like waiting was actually weaving 1,000 unseen threads coming together to form one perfect moment. You are standing in that moment now. Every sacrifice you made, every night you resisted compromise, every prayer that ended in silence, they built a structure in the invisible. And now that structure is about to manifest in your reality. It's as if the heavens are opening a vault, long kept for you alone. Inside it are the fruits of every unseen. Yes, you didn't realize it, but your obedience was creating equity in eternity. Every time you trusted instead of doubting, you made an eternal deposit. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, you built spiritual interest. And now, the account of your faithfulness is being released as blessing measured not by quantity, but by purpose, as was written through the wisdom of Proverbs. Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 18. A wicked person earns deceptive wages, but the one who sows righteousness reaps a sure reward. The hidden reward is not only what you receive, it's who you've become. The person standing here now could not have been formed without the waiting. The struggle purified your motives. The silence refined your heart. God was not denying you, He was defining you. And now that definition has become strength. Look closely at the days ahead. You will notice small shifts first. A door that opens easily where resistance once stood. A conversation that turns in your favor without effort. A new peace where anxiety once screamed. These are the first raindrops of divine release. The harvest never begins with thunder. It begins with dew. Quiet, gentle, but undeniable. Your prayers have ripened. Heaven's response is not chaotic. It's calculated. You are about to witness divine symmetry, the way every disappointment aligns perfectly with destiny. Even the things you thought were mistakes are being rewritten as miracles. But this reward is not merely for your comfort, it's for your calling. Heaven rewards those who can handle blessing without pride. That's you now. You no longer seek recognition, you seek revelation. You no longer crave applause, you crave alignment. That's why the timing had to be now, because you're finally ready to hold what you once would have mishandled. Some rewards will come as opportunity, others as relationship, others as revelation. Some will appear in the natural, others in the heart. Don't measure the blessing by size, measure it by significance. Heaven's gifts are not random, they're strategic. Every blessing that enters your life from this point forward has assignment attached to it. The hidden reward isn't simply a gift, it's a gateway. Each blessing opens another dimension of purpose. Each new door comes with a new responsibility. The more you receive, the more heaven trusts you to release. This is the rhythm of divine stewardship. Receive, then reflect, be blessed, then become a blessing. You may feel unworthy of such reward, but that humility is part of why it's being released. God exalts the humble because they won't idolize the gift, they'll glorify the giver. That's who you've become, a vessel refined enough to carry favor without being consumed by it. Let gratitude be your guardrail. The reward isn't a finish line, it's a new beginning. Blessing is not a resting place, it's a launching pad. From here, you will move in greater authority, not because of what you own, but because of what you've overcome. So breathe deeply. Chosen one, the long night has done its work. The dawn has arrived, not with noise, but with light. You are stepping into answered prayers, disguised as ordinary days. You'll walk into spaces and sense grace already waiting for you. You'll speak words and watch hearts shift without effort. That's what divine reward looks like. It fits perfectly because it was crafted just for you. Remember this moment when you feel the peace settle again. It's not random, it's recognition. Heaven is acknowledging your endurance. You are living proof that obedience is never wasted, and that every waiting season has a reward on the other side. The hidden has been revealed, the stored has been released, and the one who sowed in tears is about to reap in joy. There is a transformation that words can barely hold, the moment when obedience moves from action to atmosphere, when your heart itself becomes the altar. You are living in that transformation now. It's no longer about what you do for God. It's about what you've become with him. Every surrender has shaped the sanctuary within you. Every yes, whispered through tears, became a brick. Every prayer breathed through exhaustion became mortar. Every act of love became light inside this inner temple. Heaven doesn't dwell only in churches made of stone. It rests inside hearts made of surrender. And yours has become his dwelling place. Chosen one. This is sacred. Your heart, once a battlefield, has become a holy place. The same emotions that once waged war against your peace now serve as incense rising to heaven. You are learning to live as both vessel and voice, altar and offering. There was a time when you sought God externally in signs, in noise, in confirmation from others. But lately, the quiet has been enough. You've realized that peace isn't found in the absence of storms, but in the presence of the holy within. You've stopped searching the sky for proof, because heaven now lives in your chest. You've reached the point where prayer isn't just words, it's rhythm. Every heartbeat echoes worship. Every breath becomes communion. You've discovered what it means to walk with God, not as a distant deity, but as an indwelling companion. As we are reminded through the writings of Paul to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? That revelation changes everything. You are not reaching out to find God, you are revealing him through your life. Every smile, every act of kindness, every moment you choose peace instead of panic, these are all sermons preached without words. The world doesn't need louder noise, it needs deeper presence. And you carry that presence now. When your heart becomes his altar, worship no longer depends on music or mood. It becomes constant awareness. You start to see beauty in the ordinary, holiness in the mundane. Washing dishes becomes prayer. Walking alone becomes meditation. Silence becomes symphony. This is what heaven calls abiding. Oh, but understand this. When your heart becomes an altar, fire must remain. And fire needs fuel. That means you must keep returning to the source, resting, listening, letting his word breathe new oxygen into your flame. The world will try to distract you, to pull your attention toward chaos again. But remember, you are the keeper of the inner fire. Protect your peace, like a priest protects the sacred flame. There will be moments when the altar feels quiet, when your prayers seem to fade into the air. Don't mistake that quietness for emptiness. Even in stillness, the presence burns. Even in silence, heaven listens. The altar doesn't need constant words, it needs constant awareness. You've entered the stage of intimacy where miracles happen quietly. You'll speak peace over a situation and watch it shift without spectacle. You'll walk into a room and feel the atmosphere respond to your spirit. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. When the Holy One makes his home within you, heaven's authority flows naturally through your obedience. The altar of your heart is also the compass of your calling. The more you honor that space, the clearer your direction becomes. You don't have to chase opportunities. They'll begin to find you because heaven recognizes its reflection. When your inner world aligns, your outer world rearranges itself in response. Chosen one. This season is not about striving, it's about stewarding. You've done the hard work of surrender. Now you must maintain the sacred rhythm. Let gratitude be your incense. Forgiveness, your oil, compassion, your offering. Every time you love without expectation, heaven's flame grows brighter in you. You are not the same person who began this journey. You've moved from visiting God to hosting Him. You've gone from seeking miracles to being one. The peace that radiates from you now is not borrowed, it's born. And so, as a prophetic act of agreement, write 444 inches, the comments below. This number represents divine dwelling and stability, 3 fours symbolizing the foundation of the altar. Faith, obedience, and presence. When you type it, you're declaring, "My heart is His home." It's a way of saying, "I am rooted in the presence that never leaves." End quote. You don't need to strive for more when you've already become the vessel heaven rests within. This is your season of inner glory, the phase where God's voice speaks from the inside out. Guard this sanctuary well. Keep your altar burning. For the same God who fills the heavens now fills your heart, and that, chosen one, is the greatest reward of all. There comes a stage in every chosen journey when silence begins to speak with new meaning, when the noise of the world fades and only one voice remains. You have entered that sacred stage now. It's not emptiness you feel, it's refinement. The distractions that once demanded your attention have lost their hold because you've learned to recognize the whisper of destiny. It began as a faint murmur in the quiet, a tug in your spirit that didn't come with thunder or command, but with clarity. You started to sense direction, not through signs in the sky, but through peace in your soul. That's how heaven speaks to those it trusts with subtlety. Only the matured heart can discern the difference between a thought and a calling. This whisper of destiny does not shout. It doesn't rush or demand. It flows. It invites. It moves through your heart like wind through trees, gentle, but impossible to ignore. The same God who spoke through fire to Moses now speaks through stillness to you. He's not calling you to do more. He's calling you to become more. As was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" Amen. That verse is not just instruction, it's description. It describes your life right now. You don't have to strain to hear God's direction anymore. You simply walk and find your steps aligned with His will. What once felt like trial and error has turned into rhythm. You've learned to move in sync with eternity. The whisper of destiny doesn't always bring clarity at once. Sometimes it speaks through delay, through redirection, through the closing of doors that looked perfect. But now you understand that when God says no, He's not denying you. He's guiding you toward the yes that fits your future. The whisper always knows what the crowd cannot see. That's why you've been feeling detached from noise lately. It's not isolation, it's consecration. Heaven often separates its chosen ones from the distractions of the masses to refine their hearing. You're being trained to recognize the difference between opportunity and assignment. Not every open door is yours, and not every voice deserves your response. Destiny has a sound, one that resonates with peace even when it demands sacrifice. That's how you know it's Him. Confusion never comes from God. Conviction does. Peace never argues, it anchors. When you feel that inner stillness despite external chaos, that's heaven whispering. Stay here. This is your path. And put. It's easy to mistake the whisper for uncertainty, but it's actually intimacy. The closer God walks with you, the softer He speaks. You've proven your faith through storms. So now, he doesn't need to shout over the noise. He knows you'll listen, even when he whispers. That's how relationship deepens, through trust, built in quiet places. This whisper also carries revelation about timing. You may feel something stirring, but can't see the full picture yet. Don't rush it. Destiny doesn't reveal itself in a single glance. It unfolds like sunrise. One layer of light at a time. The whisper says, "Wait." The vision is forming. In front, you're being guided not just to do something new, but to become someone new. The instructions coming now are not about motion, but transformation. Heaven is more interested in shaping your nature than scheduling your next step. Soon, others will start noticing the difference in you. They'll say your presence feels calmer, your words sharper, your eyes wiser. What they're sensing is not merely maturity, it's alignment. The whisper has changed your frequency. You're moving at the speed of obedience, not ambition. And when the next season arrives, you won't need to announce it. You'll simply step into it. And everything around you will recognize the authority of your silence. Because those who walk with the whisper carry a peace that shouts louder than noise. So keep listening. Chosen one. The voice that called your name before the foundation of the world is still guiding your steps now. It's not done speaking. It's only becoming clearer. Every day you walk in awareness. The whisper grows stronger until one day it becomes thunder, not around you, but through you. You are being prepared to speak what you've been hearing, to become the echo of heaven on earth. For now, stay in tune with the whisper. Let it shape your decisions. Guard your pace and keep your heart steady. You are not lost. You are led. And every step in this silence is a sentence in the story. Heaven is still writing. There is a quiet majesty in waiting for something sacred to be revealed. You can feel it, the sense that something long promised is drawing near. Not in haste, but in holiness. The crowning moment is approaching. Chosen one. Heaven has been preparing you not for recognition, but for readiness. The crown was never delayed. It was being forged in the fire of your faithfulness. Every trial that bruised you was shaping the fit of that crown. Every rejection refined the gold. Every lonely night polished the edges until it would rest perfectly upon your head without crushing your spirit. The process wasn't punishment, it was precision. Heaven doesn't hand crowns to the untested. Only those who have learned to carry weight without breaking can carry glory without pride. You may not have realized it, but the waiting has been royal training. The moments you thought were wasted were actually preparation for reign. You learned endurance when answers didn't come quickly. You learned compassion when pain became personal. You learned humility when you were misunderstood. All of those lessons were jewels for your crown. The crowning moment is not a ceremony in a palace, it's a recognition in the spirit. It happens when heaven says, "Now they can be trusted with influence." It is not about applause, it's about alignment. The crown doesn't just represent status, it represents stewardship. When God crowns someone, He's not rewarding them for being exceptional, He's entrusting them to carry His image well. As was written in the book of James. James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him. That promise is breathing over you right now. You have persevered. You've stood the test, not flawlessly, but faithfully. Heaven rewards faith that keeps walking, even with trembling legs. You are being crowned not because you never stumbled, but because you never surrendered to despair. You've grown into the kind of strength that doesn't boast. You've learned to bow before you rise, to listen before you speak, to love even when it costs you. That's what makes a true ruler in the kingdom, a heart that serves even when it bleeds. The authority coming upon you is not domination, it's compassion wearing armor. Imagine a crown made not of metal but of memory, each gem a moment when you chose faith instead of fear, each sparkle a tear that heaven transformed into light. The weight of that crown is balanced by grace. It doesn't press down, it lifts. It doesn't demand, it dignifies. You will feel it, not as burden, but as belonging. The beauty of divine coronation is that no one can take it from you. It isn't granted by man, so it can't be revoked by man. This is not an earthly crown of competition, but an eternal crown of completion. It signifies that you've learned the rhythm of heaven, the flow of humility, patience, and power in harmony. And yet, even as this moment approaches, you'll feel the gentle reminder: the crown is not for display, but for service. It glows brightest when you kneel, not when you stand above others. The greater the glory, the deeper the grace must anchor you. That's why God took his time, because he wasn't just giving you victory, he was giving you wisdom. When this crowning becomes visible in your life, it won't need a trumpet. It will show through peace that cannot be shaken, through words that carry healing, through presence that restores hope. The people around you will sense it before they see it. You will walk into rooms and shift atmospheres simply by being there. That's what divine authority feels like, subtle yet undeniable. You will notice that the things which used to agitate you now glance off harmlessly. That's because crowns and chaos cannot coexist. Once the crown rests upon your spirit, lesser battles lose their importance. You won't argue to prove your worth. You'll stay silent because you know it. The crowning moment doesn't end your journey. It marks a new beginning. From this point, your life becomes an offering poured out for others. Your words will carry the fragrance of grace. Your actions will plant courage in tired hearts. Your existence will remind others that perseverance pays off, that the waiting is never wasted. Chosen one. This is your coronation season, not in glitter or gold, but in quiet glory. Heaven has watched your endurance, and now the weight of honor is being placed upon you. The fire that once threatened to consume you has now become the light that surrounds you. Soon, you will feel it, the subtle yet undeniable shift in your spirit, the calm certainty that something eternal has been placed upon you. The battle for identity is over. The struggle for validation has ended. You have been crowned with life, love, and lasting purpose. The preparation is complete. The waiting has done its work. The crown fits. Even now, heaven's applause continues. It isn't thunderous or dramatic. It's steady, rhythmic, like waves meeting the shore. The hosts of light are not cheering because you won some earthly prize. They are rejoicing because you finished what you started. You endured. You kept believing when evidence disappeared. You held faith like a lantern through storms that would have drowned most hearts. And heaven calls that victory. You are called a finisher of faith. That title is not given easily. It's not about perfection, but perseverance. The world applauds those who start strong. Heaven celebrates those who stay steady. Every time you refuse to quit, another angel wrote a note beside your name, still standing, and chosen one. You've learned what few ever understand, that obedience is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. You've become the kind of person who walks with consistency even when applause fades. And that constancy has made you dangerous to darkness and precious to heaven. As was written in the letter to Timothy, 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That verse now belongs to your story. You have fought the invisible battles and won. You've reached the point where you no longer need proof to believe. You believe because you know. Your faith has matured into certainty. The angels are not clapping because the journey is over. They're celebrating because you didn't lose your heart along the way. You remained kind when bitterness tried to claim you. You remained soft when the world tried to harden you. That softness is not weakness, it's strength that has been sanctified. Think of your journey like a symphony. Every season was an instrument, some loud, some quiet. The violins of pain, the drums of endurance, the flutes of peace, all blending into a melody that heaven recognizes as yours. The conductor never left the podium, even when the music seemed off-key. And now, as the song nears its crescendo, heaven rises to honor the musician who kept playing through the storm. That's what your life is, music. Every moment of faith created sound in the unseen realm. You've been a song the darkness couldn't silence. And now, heaven is harmonizing with your rhythm. When you look back, you'll see that the hardest seasons were the verses that made your melody meaningful. The pauses between miracles were rests in the score. Every moment had purpose. Every note mattered. You were never offbeat. You were just being tuned for the finale. Now that you've reached this point, you are invited to share your song. The testimony you carry isn't for decoration, it's for direction. Someone else is still walking through the movement you've already completed. They need your sound to find their tempo again. So if this message resonates with the deepest part of your spirit, take a small act of acknowledgement. Tap the like as a silent clap to heaven, a way of saying, I hear the music too. Share this message as you would pass a lantern down a dark hallway, guiding another traveler toward hope. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not for obligation, but to stay connected to this symphony of words heaven keeps writing through us. Every message here is another note in the same divine composition, a reminder that faith, though quiet, always sings. You can also leave a simple comment below. Write something that reflects what's stirring inside you right now. It could be a single phrase like, still standing, or faith wins. When you write it, it's not for attention, it's agreement. It's your echo, joining heaven's applause. Those small words carry the sound of victory across unseen realms. You see, every engagement, every like, every share, every comment isn't just digital activity. It's spiritual participation. It's you saying, I receive the word and I release it to others. Each action becomes another ripple in the ocean of grace that carries this message farther than any one voice could reach alone. Imagine that. Each click, each word, each share, like doves leaving your hands, carrying light into timelines and screens where hearts have gone cold. You're not just sharing content, you're spreading warmth. The applause of heaven isn't just for endurance, it's for generosity. The way you pass on encouragement multiplies joy in the unseen. When you share light, heaven echoes louder, because you've turned your victory into someone else's hope. So stand tall, chosen one. Feel the rhythm of that unseen applause. You've done what few dared to do. You've remained faithful when faith wasn't fashionable. And now, heaven crowns you with peace, wraps you in purpose, and calls you a finisher. The race continues. Yes, but you run differently now. No longer chasing validation, but carrying revelation. No longer sprinting in fear, but walking in grace. You've become the melody that darkness cannot mute. The sound of heaven's applause will follow you now, wherever you go, reminding you that endurance is holy, and that faith, when kept, turns every ending into the beginning of glory. There is a new light resting upon you now, steady, resolute, unmistakable. It doesn't flicker like emotion or depend on circumstance. It is the kind of light that has been earned through endurance, refined through obedience, and sustained through communion. You've walked through nights so dark that you forgot what dawn looked like. But even there, the flame never went out. You are now both warrior and intercessor, a bearer of light who understands the weight and wonder of illumination. This light is not ornamental, it is functional. It's the lamp that keeps others from stumbling, the torch that exposes lies, the warmth that draws wounded souls out of the cold. You don't carry it to be seen, you carry it to serve. The world doesn't need more brightness that blinds, it needs the kind of light that heals. And that's what you've become. The transformation was subtle at first. Your voice softened, but your words gained power. Your pace slowed, but your presence grew stronger. You stopped reacting and started discerning. You no longer rush into every battle, you choose them carefully, led by wisdom instead of impulse. That's how warriors mature. The greatest strength is not in fighting everything, it's in knowing what to protect. Your journey has trained you to see beyond the surface. You've learned that the true war isn't fought in arguments or appearances, but in atmospheres. The battlefield of the spirit is invisible, yet you've become fluent in its language. You can sense tension before it speaks, peace before it appears, change before it arrives. This sensitivity is not a burden, it's a gift. Heaven trusted you with discernment because you proved you could carry light without pride. As was written in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Every scar you carry now glows softly with purpose. The wounds that once embarrassed you have become windows for light to pass through. They no longer speak of defeat, they testify of victory. Every healed fracture in your heart emits a quiet brilliance that draws others toward healing. You are living proof that the same hands that wound can also restore. And yet, this light comes with responsibility. To carry light is to stand as contrast. The world will not always celebrate it. Some will be drawn to your glow, while others will resist it, because light reveals what darkness hides. But don't let that discourage you. Remember, the purpose of light is not to be liked, it's to be faithful. A candle doesn't apologize for burning, it simply gives itself away. Chosen one, your very existence now pushes back shadows. Every prayer you whisper, every moment you choose patience over anger, every word you speak in truth, they all release ripples of light across unseen territories. You may never know the full reach of your impact, but heaven does. You are influencing realms that your feet have never touched, shifting atmospheres in ways that eyes cannot measure. You've become an intercessor of hope. When others falter, your faith steadies them. When chaos rises, your peace quiets it. You carry an invisible authority now, the kind that doesn't shout, but shifts. The kind that doesn't control, but corrects by simply existing. There will be times when you feel the weariness of the mission, when the world feels too heavy for your light. In those moments, remember, you're not the source, you're the vessel. The oil that fuels your fire comes from heaven itself. As long as you stay connected, your flame will never fade. Even when you feel unseen, your light is working. Even when no one thanks you, heaven notices every silent act of love, every hidden prayer, every decision to forgive adds brightness to the world's dim corners. That is the unseen ministry of light, to work quietly, yet change everything. You are no longer defined by the battles you fought, but by the peace you now protect. Your mission is simple yet sacred. Keep shining, not as an act of effort, but as an act of being. The darkness doesn't need your fear, it needs your flame. And when you walk, the path brightens. When you speak, confusion clears. When you rest, even stillness glows. Because the light within you has become inseparable from who you are. You're no longer holding it, you are it. The night will always exist, but it will never reign where you stand. The shadows may gather, but they bow to the brilliance born from your obedience. Chosen one, you are the keeper of flame, the guardian of radiance, the living reflection of divine light. And wherever you go, the world remembers that darkness has limits, but your light does not. And now, chosen one, the light that has guided you stands still, not as a flare of urgency, but as a steady glow of completion. You've reached the edge of a long road, and when you look back, you can finally see what heaven always saw. Every valley was a lesson. Every detour was design. Every delay was mercy, disguised as time. You have become the testimony you once prayed to be. God's smile still rests upon you. It hasn't faded with the seasons or dimmed with the years. It shines brighter now because it's reflected from within you. Joy has taken root in your spirit, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a permanent posture. You have learned to live from rest, to breathe from gratitude, to walk, not with striving, but with assurance. The story of your transformation is not just one of triumph, it's one of tenderness. You have been shaped by both fire and favor, and somehow the two have become indistinguishable. The very moments that tried to destroy you became the same moments that defined you. Heaven used every broken piece to build the mosaic of your destiny. Now you stand as both message and messenger. Proof that divine joy is not fragile, it endures. You are a reflection of a smiling God, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. Every time you chose to rise after falling, heaven's joy deepened. Every time you refused bitterness, the divine smile widened. The Father's joy is not a distant light, it's an indwelling flame. It burns quietly. Even when you doubt, even when you struggle, His joy over you is constant, unearned, unwavering. It doesn't increase when you succeed or fade, when you falter. It simply is, as was written through the words of the prophet Nehemiah. Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 10. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. That joy, chosen one, is your foundation now. You no longer draw strength from adrenaline or applause. Your strength flows from delight His in you, and yours in Him. It's a divine exchange that never depletes. Even when you're tired, joy becomes your rest. Even when you're uncertain, joy becomes your anchor. And with that joy comes peace. Not the temporary kind that depends on still circumstances, but the eternal kind that stands even when winds howl. You've reached a place where silence no longer scares you, it heals you. You've discovered that solitude isn't loneliness, it's communion. You are never alone, because the one who smiles over you walks within you. There will still be storms. Life doesn't spare the chosen, it strengthens them. But the next time the skies darken, you'll respond differently. You won't panic, because you've already learned that storms are not punishments, they are passages. You will stand in the rain with calm eyes, knowing that every drop carries purpose. And while others search for signs of God in the extraordinary, you'll see Him in the ordinary, in the sunrise, in laughter shared with a stranger, in the stillness before sleep. You'll realize that joy was never a destination. It was the thread running through your entire journey. You've been walking in it all along. The light you now carry will not fade with time. It will multiply. Every word you speak, every step you take, every act of love will release a fragment of divine joy into the world. You are heaven's reminder that holiness is not heavy, it's radiant. You are proof that obedience doesn't end in weariness, it ends in wonder. The God who smiled when you began still smiles now, and He will smile again when you take each next step. His delight is not seasonal, it's eternal. You are not moving toward favor, you are moving from it. You don't chase blessing anymore, blessing follows you. And as you continue walking this illuminated path, remember that joy is your inheritance and your identity. It's not something you seek, it's something you embody. The same God who danced over creation dances over you now, celebrating what you've become, a vessel of light, a mirror of mercy, a carrier of divine laughter into a weary world. So, walk forward gently, carrying this truth like a crown that cannot fall. Heaven's smile is your atmosphere now. You live under it. You breathe within it. You move through it. Wherever you go, that joy will echo quiet but unbreakable, humble but holy. And when you rest tonight, may you feel it, the warmth of divine delight resting over your spirit like sunlight at dawn. You've made it, chosen one, not because the road was easy, but because you kept walking. The smile of God is your reward, and it will never fade. Chosen one, you've reached the end of this divine journey, but not the end of what heaven is doing in you. Every word written here was a mirror, a reminder of who you've always been: light, purpose, and promise wrapped in human form. The smile of God rests on you still, glowing through your endurance, shimmering through your peace. If these words have stirred something deep inside you, let that movement become a response. Tap the like, not for attention, but as an amen in motion, a quiet echo to heaven that says, I receive this truth. Share it as you would pass a torch in the dark, allowing others to see what you've found. And before you go, leave a comment, just a few words that flow from your spirit. Write what this message awakened in you. Your words may be the lifeline someone else needs to keep believing. Finally, subscribe, not out of habit, but to stay connected to the current of revelation still flowing. There are more messages to come, more light waiting to meet you. The journey continues, and heaven's hand is still guiding your steps. Walk in joy, shine in peace. You are loved.